How are you all? Good? Now, I'm not going to take all your time because, as a judge, I can talk forever, and I know you don't want to have any lectures from a judge, but I come to you not just as a judge today, but as a man seeking wellness and making sure that my health and whether it's physical or mental wellness is intact. And through the practice of law for many, many years now, a defense attorney initially, and then my 14th year in East Cleveland, I realized just how important wellness is. Because some of the cases that I see, whether it's a situation of driving under the influence or an assault charge or domestic violence, often, if you tag it all the way back to the beginning, there's something that we're missing in our lives, something that we can improve on, and oftentimes it's our wellness, whether it's our physical wellness or our mental health. If you think about it, oftentimes if I'm dealing with an OVI or a driving under the influence case, it may stem from substance abuse, right? And if you're actively or dealing with or challenged by substance abuse, that's something that we need to address because there's a lifeline, there's an extinguishing point to that, where you're either going to end up, your health is in failing situation, or you're in jail, or you're in front of a judge. So if I take all the cases that I get on the regular basis, I often can identify that there's something that we can do from the wellness standpoint to keep you out of court, to keep you out of jail. And the reason I think that I'm a great resource for all of these conversations is because you can have everything going for you. You can be the most successful entrepreneur. You can have your business going. You can have all your degrees. You can be in school, a doctor, a lawyer. But one mistake could put you in front of a judge that can take all of that away or put all of that in jeopardy. So that's why it's so important that we work on our mental health, that we work on our physical wellness, because it's really tied together. So my brief conversation today is going to be on the law of wellness. I'm going to give you 5 pillars of the law of wellness. And I initially I'm going to ask you, I think I'm going to still do it, I'm going to ask you to stand up at certain points so we can work on some things together, because I didn't tell you this. I am also a yogi. I'm a yoga teacher. I have a studio in Cleveland Heights called the Yoga Lab. And believe it or not, that all stemmed from what I recognized being a judge. I realized that I needed to make sure I was taking care of my mental health and my physical wellness because of the stress of my job. So I can imagine that everybody in here has a different level of stress from something. Whether you're a judge, a lawyer, a doctor, a chef, a parent, there's a level of stress, and we have to figure out a way to deal with it. So one day when I was in East Cleveland on the bench, I went for lunch down to University Circle, found a yoga studio, walked in it for my lunch break, and literally it changed my life. And from that moment on, I said, you know what? I'm going to put this into practice. And it's led all the way to me having the studio, the Yoga Lab in Cleveland Heights. And I'm not the only teacher there. We have a staff of amazing teachers. So I'm going to be talking to you about a few things that incorporate all that. So the law of wellness, pillar number 1, meditation over madness. Meditation over madness. Meditation is your daily recess. It's like a courtroom break. If you've ever been in a courtroom, it's like all rise for the judge, we're going to take a break, and then boom, it's over. But that's the same thing that meditation can do for you. It's a courtroom break for the busyness that you have in your life, the things that you have going on. It clears your docket of worry. So when I get into court in the morning, I'm looking at my docket. I want to know, what type of cases do I have today? Do I have OVIs, assaults, domestic violences? Do I have a murder case that I'm going to see? So immediately, my stress factor goes up. I'm a little worried. I'm like, okay, here are more people derailing their future, making bad decisions. So what am I going to do as a judge to handle that? So I have a level of stress. In your life, when you wake up or when you go to work, there are things that you have to do. But when you take the meditation break, it can really give you that immediate recess. So what I want to do is give you a couple of tips on meditation. What I would suggest, if you have not meditated before, set aside at least 3 minutes. Start with 3 minutes. There are some people who meditate for hours. Start with 3 minutes, and all you have to do is find you a space where you can go silent, where you can block out the noise. And the thing about meditation, or the reason why a lot of people don't do it, especially us men, is because we can't really settle down our thoughts. And I'll tell you this, when you first start meditating, you don't have to worry about settling down your thoughts. What you want to do is let those thoughts come to your mind and let them drift past. because the more we resist, the more it will persist. So what I would like you to do, if you're meditating and you're all of a sudden thinking about, your bills or something that's stressing in your life, acknowledge it and then let it walk on past and continue with your meditative journey. So meditation is the first pillar in the law of wellness incorporated in your life. I have an app that I use that I make sure I turn on every morning before I leave the house, whether it's a 5-minute, 10-minute, 20-minute meditation. It all depends because we have things we have to do. But make sure you do that. And then if you're doing it on the app, it's going to give you a kind of a total of how many days you've done it. So maybe you've done it for a week, maybe it's a month, maybe it's just 7 days and you forget a day and you have to reset. But the bottom line is it'll give you a way to track it. So meditation is first. The next pillar is your breath. Now, what I would like to do is to have at least a few of you agree to stand up with me for a moment. Can somebody stand up? Maybe the brothers in the front? Okay. Maybe everybody. Okay. So I'm going to step back, but I'm going to talk loud. For breathing purposes, let's all do this together. Let's take a deep breath in. Let's inhale. Hold it. Exhale. All right. Now, I can't see everybody, but I'm willing to bet that some of us went with our chest going out. That's okay, but what you really want to do to have a great breath is your belly should go out. So in this next round, I want you to put your hand on your belly, even if your chest goes up. But when you inhale, I want the belly to expand because think about it. You're bringing the breath in, so your belly should expand. And as you exhale, that's when it goes back in. So let's do that one more time together. Let's inhale, belly going out. Exhale. All right, thank you. You can have a seat for a moment. I'm happy to get up one more time, but that's good. So that breath is important. Full belly breath. That way you really get the benefits of the breathing. And think about everything that we've been through as a country with COVID-19 and all of that. We need healthy lungs. But here's what I wrote for your pillar of breath. Your breath is your first and last legal document in life. Think about that. When you have life, when it begins, you're breathing. And unfortunately, when life ends, you're not breathing. So breath is very sacred and it's important, but it's something we take for granted. But I will tell you this also, I use breath daily to calm my body and mind down. I'll tell you, when I walk out there, the first thing I do in the courtroom, especially before COVID, and now I can do it a little bit more, I walk out, they'll say, all rise for the judge. And the first thing I do is I say, okay, don't sit down. Let's take a deep breath together because we need to reset because I'm sure none of you want to be here. But let's get on the same page. So I'll say, let's all inhale together, exhale together, and then I'll say, okay, now let's have a seat. And you'll be amazed at how many people go from frowning to maybe just a little smirk of a smile, maybe not too much because they don't want to be in court. But again, it's a reset. So use that breath as a reset. That's one of the other pillars for wellness. Number 3 is motion over stagnation. All right, so this is where I want you to get up for the last time. Go. So I want you to do yoga with me today or maybe at the studio. But what I want us all to take your arms in the air, side bend to your left. So go ahead to your left. Stay there, breathe. Something you can do in the morning. Come back up. Breathe in, side bend to the right. And you'll notice the more you do it, you can get over. You're going to feel that stretch in your side body. Come back to the front. A little back bend. Cactus your arms down, chest forward. Look up to the ceiling. 3, 2, 1. Reach back up. Breathe in, arms down. If nothing else, move your body. You can have a seat. Thank you so much. You were absolutely fantastic. You all could be yoga teachers, I'm telling you. If nothing else, move your body every day. And I'll tell you this because, we have an intimate crowd, so I feel very comfortable with you. There is something that they say you can test yourself on, your mobility. And what you want to do is, I can tell the way you're seated, I'm not going to ask you to do this, but when you get a chance, test your squatting ability, right? Movement is so important to longevity, to your health, to your wellness. You have to move your body. So I want you all, by the next time I see you, to be able to do a full squat, where you're able to go all the way down and stay here. Perfect. No, but literally, I want you to be able to squat because it's going to not only build your flexibility, your mobility, but it's things like that that will keep you healthy. And that's really the doorway to more movement. So we're going to do our side bends in the morning. We're going to do our back bends in the morning. We're going to squat, and we're going to breathe. Let's do that. All right. Number 4, the 4th pillar is mind over mayhem. Silence your mind for peace. Meditation, prayer, breath work, they all play into that. You want to manage your mind. It's something I talk about in the court called mind management. And a big part of that is making sure that you control what you can control, and one of those things is your mind. You can't control if a police officer pulls you over. It's amazing how many people come to me in court and they're like, yes, Judge Dawson, that police officer pulled me over and I went off on him because I'm a man. And I'm like, okay, you're a man, but guess what? You don't control that situation. All it's going to do is put you in a worse hole. What you can control is how you react to that situation. And what you want to do for your wellness is think about what's important to you. You want to get to work. You want to get home to your family. You want to get to that party you were going to. And the more that you resist the officer on this pullover, not only does it mess with your mental health, it's going to mess with you physically because you're going to be before the judge with more charges. So mind management is so important. And there are 3 secret sauces to the mind management. The first one is gratitude. Every last one of you in here right now should be grateful for the fact that you were able to stand up and do a side bend. Seriously. Because we all know somebody who's struggling with their physical health. They can't do a side bend. They can't do a back bend. And that squat that you all are going to be able to do later on, some people don't even have the ability to do that. So when we tap into gratitude, that increases our mental health and our wellness. The second one is when you're dealing with issues outside of yourself, step into the other person's frame of reference. Now, that is something I learned as a judge, because when people come up to that podium, I'm already looking at them like, okay, so they didn't wear a shirt and tie, all right. They're walking up, the pants may be sagging, maybe not. Maybe the young ladies have on a halter top. I don't like that as a judge. But so I'm already getting all these little opinions, right? But once they start speaking, I remind myself, let me step into their frame of reference. Maybe that person didn't realize how to come to court dressed, so don't let it offend you. Maybe the person in line at your business had a very bad day, so now they're being disrespectful to you, but it has nothing to do with you. Maybe that person in the car that just sped past you, blew the horn and threw up a couple of fingers, there was something else going on. So when you step into their frame of reference, it frees up your mental space, and no longer are you letting it destroy your mindset, and the things that you let go in your mind becomes manifest through your body. You get tense, you get tight. So if we want to take care of our wellness, we have to step into other people's frame of reference so that it doesn't bother us. The third one on that is simply, if it gets too heavy, put it down, right? So, I've been working out for a long time, and now that I'm 16, I feel that I'm at my strongest. I just have this white beard, and, I don't know how that happened. But what I realize when I go to the gym now, it's not about me benching 315 pounds. It's not about me walking in and doing 1,000 curls. If things get too heavy, I put them down. The same thing has to apply to us when it comes to our wellness. If the relationship is getting too heavy, step away for a moment. If your interaction with your boss or your supervisor is getting too heavy, put it down for a moment, step away. If the business is getting a little too stressful, step away. We have to learn how to look out for our wellness, our mental health, so that we don't derail our future. So if things get too heavy, put them down. Number 5, last one, discipline over distraction. Wellness requires discipline in what you eat, in how you sleep, and who you spend time with. And keep this in mind, every distraction coming from a judge is a violation to what you want to do and what you want to accomplish, whereas every discipline is a deposit to your life of wellness. I don't say this to brag, but I'm very disciplined. Let me tell you how my morning starts. And this is because I know what I have to do to build myself up to go into court. And again, they said I'm the judge in East Cleveland, so that alone, if you know about our cities in Ohio, East Cleveland's a rough place to be. I grew up in East Cleveland, so I can say that proudly, but it's rough, right? So every morning when I get up at about 4:30, the first thing I do after, you go to the bathroom and get yourself together as a man, I go downstairs and there's a routine I have. I meditate for 10 minutes. I do my abs, getting my body moving. I turn around and I do some yoga where I'm just warming up my back, warming up my body, and then I write down my plan for the day. Right? Because for me, that discipline is going to keep me from being distracted. That discipline is going to build me up so that when I walk out the house, I'm ready for anything. Now, of course, something can slap me hard and I'll be derailed a little bit, but I've built up deposits already. I've already won part of my day. And if nothing else, that is strong for our minds, just to know that you have the discipline. So I encourage you, the fifth pillar of wellness is discipline. So real quick again, the first pillar is meditation over madness. Second one, breath. The breath work is important. Third one is movement. You have to move your body. I wear this t-shirt that says movement is medicine. Move your body. Number 4, mindset, mind control. We want to make sure that we're controlling what we can so that we keep our minds healthy. The second one is discipline over distraction. Avoid distractions. They're going to come, but if you're disciplined, you'll make it through. All right, so what are the consequences from the judge? Break the law of wellness. We have stress, disease, burnout, anxiety. You honor the law of wellness. You have energy, clarity, longevity, peace. You can't bribe the law. You can't cheat the law. You can't even plea bargain with it because it's just set in stone. If you don't take care of yourself, there are consequences. So keep this in mind. From the judge, the gavel is in your hand. Your verdict is for you to write. And under the law of wellness, if you employ those pillars that I mentioned, you will succeed. Gentlemen and ladies in the room, thank you for your time. I want to encourage you to stay well. Come do yoga with me at the Yoga Lab. You'll be my guest. It's in Cleveland Heights at Severance Center, right down from Dave's. Otherwise, I'll see you in court when you get a ticket. Who knows? All right, take care. Thank you.